Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today for a new video we're going to be looking at the best player from each Premier League team this season, and this is going to be based on my own personal opinion. I've looked at some stats on the Premier League app, and yeah, let's get into it. So first of all we have Arsenal, and I think it's a bit of a given who was their outstanding player this season, and that was Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. 22 goals, another season. I think he was joint winner of the Golden Boot last season. I think he just missed out to Jamie Vardy by a goal this season. He scored 22 in the league with a few assists as well. I think it's pretty much a given. I think without Aubameyang in the Arsenal team, they'd be in a bit of a relegation battle just about, arguably, especially with the start they made to the season. So yeah, Aubameyang for me, hands down there. Aston Villa now, and again a pretty straightforward decision here on who was their best player this season, and that was Jack Grealish, top goal scorer for them from midfield, and with the most assists. That is a pretty straightforward winner there. There was big hopes on the shoulders of their new striker Wesley coming into the Premier League campaign for them. But he scored a mere 5 goals, with Grealish scoring a good 8 goals, and he also assisted in 6 of them as well. It contributed to 14 crucial goals for Villa staying up this season. So yeah, Jack Grealish all the way. So now we move on to Bournemouth, which is a wee bit more tricky to decide on off the top of my head before looking at any stats. I had a rough idea of who I was going to go to choose here, and that was Josh King. He scored 6 goals, 4 assists. Wasn't enough in the end to keep them up, but he was up there in most of the attacking stats. But what I was surprised at was the performance of Steve Cook, who ended up topping most of the defensive stats in terms of tackles, clearances, aerial battles, ahead of Nathan Ake, who of course Manchester City have just signed for £41 million, which I think was a great deal for Bournemouth in terms of the money they got from them, considering they were going down. So yeah, it was a tough call, but I'm going to edge towards Josh King just because even though he had a good season, Steve Cook, in terms of obviously the stats, it wasn't enough to keep them up, and in general they conceded far too many goals even with those stats. So yeah, Josh King for me for Bournemouth. So Brighton now we move on to, and yeah, with them having a weird and difficult season, it was a tough one to call there as well. I've leant towards Dunk in centre back for them there, because I didn't watch a lot of Brighton games, probably about 5 or 6 if they were on the telly, but yeah, every time I watched him he was pretty consistent in defence. And looking at the stats here on the Premier League app, he's top in the clearances, even the passing, which was a wee bit surprising. I thought maybe a midfielder would have took that. Of course, he had tough competition in Mopé, I think it's pronounced. Apologies if I butchered that. With their clear goal scorer there, 10 goals to the mere 5 or second place behind him. So yeah, they probably wouldn't be up if it wasn't for him as well. But yeah, I still think the consistency of Dunk in defence really was a key factor in them staying up this season. So yeah, I'm going to go for Dunk here, and I just think he edges it ahead of Mapai there. So now we look at the squad of Burnley for their best player, and yeah, I think it's a bit of a outstanding winner for James, I might be butchering this again, but Tarkowski, I believe it's pronounced, the English centre back. Top of the interceptions, aerial battles, clearances, tackles, a great all-rounder. Burnley aren't the most prolific scorers in the league, so it was very important to their success this season, I think, that they had a solid defensive performance throughout the campaign, and he led the way very well, and every time I watched him he was outstanding. So yeah, I'm going to give it to him. I think he was just a class above everyone else, and a lot of the bigger teams in the league, with all due respect, Burnley, should maybe consider having a look at him because he was very, very good this season. Next, we look at Chelsea, and yeah, that was pretty tough. When I looked at the squad, everyone played pretty consistently well this season. I think the winner has to be Willian though. He was up there with 9 goals. I believe he was the second highest scorer for Chelsea this season. He also was top of the assist list with 7. And a lot of the appearances he had came from the bench a lot of the time. So I think he done very well to finish that high up in the stats. And every time he played, he was just phenomenal, and he led the team by example with his years and years of experience now. It's a shame that he's left them, but I mean, there's rumours that he's going to move to Arsenal, so he'll be staying in the Premier League, which is a good thing in terms of the quality staying in the Premier League. So yeah, no, I think Willian, but yeah, there was a few other contenders. I mean, I think at the beginning of the season, if Pulisic was given him more of a chance earlier, because obviously he finished very strongly, and it took a bit of time for him to adapt. But I think if he's given more a chance at the beginning of the season, I could have been choosing him, but he didn't. So on this occasion, we're going to say Willian. But I think we need to keep an eye out on Pulisic next season. Hopefully, he recovers from that, I believe, hamstring injury from the FA Cup final. Palace now, and yeah, they had a bit of a poor season, and it was a pretty clear winner for me. Every time I watched this man, he played very well. It's just a shame his teammates didn't play to the same standard as himself, in my opinion, and that was Jordan Ayew, top scorer from this season, and every time I watched him, played very well, very skillful, very quick, prolific finisher. And yeah, he was very good this season, so I've got to give it to Jordan Ayew. And I mean, there's maybe a small case for maybe the likes of maybe a James McArthur, who played pretty consistently, but consistent doesn't win best player of the season. Unfortunately, quality does, and I'm going to give it to Jordan Ayew. So we look at Everton now, and although they had a bit of a disappointing season, I think they had a couple of standout players in their team, maybe at a push free. But I'm going to give it to, and this could be controversial, I'm going to give it to Lucas Digne, who had, in my opinion, a fantastic season. Yeah, I mean, he was up there in a lot of the defensive stats, very high up, very consistent, but he was also up there. He finished with the most assists for Everton this season, and a lot of players, a lot of folk even, we will be looking at Calvert-Lewin, but for me, I think Digne was very impressive defensively and attacking. He was very good, and it wouldn't surprise me if bigger clubs look at him in the summer and in the near future. Leicester now we move on to, and yeah, fantastic campaign. Unlucky not to get in the top 4 this season, losing out on the last day. But I think a clear winner here is Jamie Vardy. I have no idea where they'd be without him. Not just his goals, just his overall attitude, closing folk down, the pressure he puts defences under, his sheer pace, fantastic player. And I love how he's came from the lower leagues in a later stage of his career, and to turn out winning the league with Leicester and getting into the Champions League and playing in it, and yeah, fantastic player, fantastic career, and he's also went and won the Golden Boot this season, 23 goals. He also had a wee short spell out with injury as well, so you never know, he might have finished with a higher goal tally than 23. But everyone thinks of him as a finisher. He also went and got himself 5 assists this season. So yeah, fantastic season overall for him. And although, say, the likes of Schmeichel and Johnny Evans, a lot of the Leicester players played very well. Chilwell as well, to mention him. But yeah, I think Vardy is just in a different league. Fantastic season from him. Now we come on to what was probably the hardest decision I've had to make. Even doing this now, I'm still there's a slight bit of doubt and anxiety around making this decision, because what a team Liverpool have. Just everyone. So we're going to... Oh, I really can't make this decision. I mean, you've got Trent, who's got 13 assists this season, defensively played well. You've got Mane with 18 goals. You've got Salah with 19 goals and 10 assists. And you've got Henderson, who's just won, I believe, Player of the Season in the Premier League this season, which I think is a bit controversial. I mean, I do believe De Bruyne had a better season than Henderson, myself personally, but that's maybe a story for our time. But yeah, I honestly can't make my mind up here. They all had a fantastic season. I think with them winning the league, I'm going to allow just the whole team to have it, because even the likes of Van Dijk, Robertson, it'd be unfair to choose a winner here. So yeah, Liverpool, I'm just going to bottle it and say the whole team gets Player of the Season. I honestly can't make a decision. Let me know what you think below. I'd love to hear your opinions. Moving on now, I mean, we look at Manchester City, and some folk may think this will be a tough decision. For me, it is one of the easiest decisions to make here, and I'm going with Kevin De Bruyne. Yes, Sterling had a fantastic season as well, and the likes of Mahrez and Walker, and a lot of the players had a good season, but De Bruyne was just, and always has been, a league above everyone at Manchester City for me. 13 goals. I mean, a solid season for a centre midfielder is maybe 6-7 goals in a season. He's managed to buy himself 13 goals, and not only has he got himself into double digits in assists, he's managed to double that. He's managed to get to 20 assists in the Premier League. That for me is outstanding. For me, although it's maybe controversial to some people, I think he should have won that Player of the Season ahead of Jordan Henderson. But yeah, let me know what you think below as well about that. But yeah, for me, De Bruyne, easy decision. Now we go across Manchester to the red side, Manchester United. And again, some people may think this will be a difficult decision. Again, not for me. I think Rashford is a clear winner here. I think a case could be made for obviously Bruno Fernandes, and the impact he's had is undeniable. He's been outstanding since he joined in January, but again, if he had a full season, Fernandes, I'm pretty sure I'd be sitting here saying his name. But I mean, I've got Rashford with 17 goals here, joint top scorer with Martial, and joint top assists with Fernandes himself with 7 assists. He's just the fact that he's been leading the line for Manchester United at such a young age for the full campaign. I mean, a lot of the responsibility is usually on the shoulders of Pogba, who's been pretty much non-existent this season for Manchester United. I think it's got to be him, and yeah, big clubs are going to be looking at him in the future. He's got a huge future for me. I mean, I first really caught eyes on him. I mean, I knew of him before this, of course, but I think this gave me that little bit of incentive to think, wow, he's going to be a world beater. Was when he scored that penalty against PSG. The pressure on such a young man's shoulders, phenomenal, unbelievable. So yeah, for me it's Rashford this season, leading the line at such a young age, finishing top of the goal scoring, top of the assists. Yeah, it's him all day for me. Now we look at Newcastle United. A bit of a mixed season for them, and for me it's got to be St Maxima. I just think he's just outstanding. With all due respect to Newcastle, I just believe he's too good for to be in that side. Although his stats aren't the greatest, 3 goals, 4 assists all season. It's his first season, and bear in mind all the focus was on Joelinton coming in for £40 million, striker for Newcastle, a bit unheard of, spending that sort of money. So yeah, I mean, St Maximum kind of just took the game by the scruff of the neck, and he made Newcastle look better than they were at the time. So yeah, it's got to be St Maximum for me, but if you think differently, again, let me know, because there's a few potential contenders. I think Shelvey was good, Shar was good, I think the goalkeeper was pretty solid as well for Newcastle this season, but yeah, no, for me it's St Maxima gets this one. We move now to bottom of the league, finishing at Norwich City, and for me it's a clear winner here in Todd Cantwell. Yeah, outstanding young man. I think there's rumours of him getting looked at by the likes of Arsenal and teams of that calibre. Yeah, he was a standout man for me, even from the first game of the season at Liverpool. He stood out like a sore thumb. I mean, 6 goals, 2 assists. not outstanding stats, but considering they finished bottom of the league, I feel like he carried them at times. I mean, he was just a standout man, and I'm not surprised there's rumours of him moving to a bigger club at that point, this point in his career. So yeah, Cantwell for me. Although Pookie finished top scorer, yeah, I think he didn't turn up to the extent that a lot of the Norwich fans were expecting. So Cantwell for me all day long. Now we look at Sheffield United, who had an absolutely fantastic season. Just looking back, this is one of the tougher decisions out of the lot here. I've went with Musa, 6 goals, top of the assists with 4. Although you could make an argument for probably any of the usual starting 11, all the way from the goalkeeper Dean Henderson, all the way up top to Ollie McBurney. They all had a fantastic season. This is one of the tougher ones, up there with the Liverpool decision for me. But yeah, Musa for me just contributed the most in terms of the statistics here, but he also looked very good on the pitch as well. So yeah, completely understand why they signed him, and yeah, he'll look to grow next season on these stats and try to take Sheffield United even higher. Southampton, well, what a season they had, very up and down, but yeah, starting off very slowly. I mean, get even to the extent where they lost 9-0 at home to Leicester, of course. But yeah, for me, it's a one-man crusade here for Danny Ings with, I believe it was 23 or 22 goals. He's having 5 in the form of Stuart Armstrong, who came off the bench quite a lot as well. So yeah, Danny Ings, who I feel like without Danny Ings in the team this season, Southampton would have been a great threat of going down as well. So yeah, he's came a long way from when he signed for Liverpool from Burnley. It didn't quite work out from there, but it's really working out from at Southampton, and I'm sure he'll be doing the same next season if a team doesn't come in and try and purchase him. Now we move to Spurs, who, very mixed season again. They've managed to scrape 6th place by the skin of their teeth. I mean, a lot of folk will be looking at Harry Kane here, expecting that from me. But for me, although he's finished top goal scorer for them, he just doesn't get enough touches to merit choosing him as their best player this season. For me, it was, and for me, goal of the season winner, Heung-min Son. 11 goals, 10 assists, in and out fantastic performances every game. He had a bit of a blip with a red card during the season, but yeah, for me, it's Heung-min Son. Let me know if you disagree with me in the comments, as I mentioned earlier with some of the other decisions, because that's what this channel's all about. I just love hearing people's opinions on these sort of matters. So yeah, Heung-min Son for me, and it was pretty comfortable in that aspect. As soon as I've seen Spurs was next to choose, he came straight to my mind first. Now to relegation side of Watford, finishing 19th this season. It was actually another tough decision there. I wasn't expecting that to be as difficult as it was. Of course, you got Troy Deeney finishing top goal scorer for them. But for me, it was between the two of Sarr and De La Feu. And looking at it, was pretty interesting. Sarr beat De La Feu 5-4 in the goal scoring tally, but De La Feu beating him 5-4 in the form of assists this season as well. So it was a tough decision, and very tempted to choose a split decision here, but I'm going to lean towards Sarr, just because I don't think De La Feu has shown his full potential for Watford, which is, for me, it's not the only reason, of course, why they're going down, but I think if he showed his full potential, there's every possibility they might have stayed up this season. I think, although he played well, I think he's capable of a lot more, and I think Sarr showed a lot of his full potential. So yeah, I'm going to go for Sarr here for Watford, who had a pretty solid season, and yeah, I feel sorry for him. He joined in the summer, and the expectation of them staying up, but unfortunately, I don't know if this means he's going to move or if he's going to stay with Watford next season. Well, we'll just have to wait and see in that aspect. So we're coming to the end, near the end of the video now, and down to the final two clubs. Next is West Ham United, which was a tough decision. I was the whole time between two players in particular, and I've got to go with Declan Rice on this one. Although Antonio's goals were important, and he finished the season strong. He started slowly, and for me, Declan Rice was consistent all season, strong. He played in centre back when he needed to, when he's not a natural there. For me, Declan Rice all the way. And at the finishing line now, last but certainly not least by any means, we've got Wolves. And phenomenal season from Wolves. They just keep getting better and better. Very, very successful season. Unlucky to miss out on a European spot with their defeat to Sevilla last night with a late goal. As well as losing out to 6th place to Tottenham on goal difference. So very, very unfortunate, and I don't think they deserve for that to have happened to them. But either way, it is what it is, and I'm sure they'll be even better next season. But for them, that's a very tough call again. All the way from the goalkeeper all the way up to Jimenez up front, the top goal scorer. It's between Jimenez for me and Adama Traore, and it's tough, you know. I mean, obviously Jimenez with I believe it was about 17 goals this season, but how many of them, we've got to ask ourselves, was assisted by Adama Traore? I've still got to go slightly with Jimenez, because I just think Traore just coming off the bench a wee bit too often, or coming off a wee bit early due to fatigue. But again, if you disagree with me, let me know and prove me wrong, and give me your opinions. So yeah, I've got to go Jimenez for Raul Jimenez from Wolves there. So that is it. That is the video complete. I've picked what I believe to be the best player from each Premier League team this season. I'll probably be making a follow-up video to this in terms of who I think the key players will be from each team next season. That will be coming up soon, I'm sure. So keep an eye out for that. So please, it's a new channel. Please feel free to subscribe, like, and comment below your views or even feedback on the videos, because of course, as I say, it is a new channel. It's still learning, and it'd be much appreciated. So yeah, until next time, have a good day.